Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today is day 27 of my journey to learn Japanese. And this series of live streams is all about documenting my progress at learning Japanese, having started as a complete beginner. And today's goal is to expand my Japanese vocabulary further. In particular, I'm going to be focusing on some verbs. And in order to do so, I've been using the Lingo Command website. And if we go to the vocabulary section here, in the beginner section, there's this list of verbs called Verbs 1, which is 25 frequently used Japanese verbs. I've studied this before, but I want to do a quick quiz to see how much I remember. And then if that goes well, I'm going to go back to Verbs 2. That's the next list of 25 verbs. I was studying that yesterday and I made decent headway, but there's definitely more to learn there. And so kind of consolidating the knowledge for those two lists is my goal for today. Now, just kind of explain what we're looking at here. On the left, we've got the English column, right? We've got the English words, and then on the right, we've got the Japanese words, and you can press these audio buttons
ある、いる、
if you'd like to
持つ、
if you'd like to know how to pronounce these words. And here, this text is shown in Romaji, but we can change that to hiragana and katakana, for example, which is what I'll be using for the quiz. And talking about quiz, so if we press here, we now get this quiz where the question is being asked in English and we're asked to type our answers in Romaji. So to be, the temporary version of to be is iru. You'll see here that this is considered wrong because it's expecting the answer in hiragana and katakana. Whilst if I pressed Romaji here and type iru, we'll consider it correct. So one thing that we can do now is we can say we're going to handwrite our answers. We're also going to turn on this setting. I'll explain that later. But we said that to be is iru, right? Let's try and write that more neatly. Iru. And so there we go. That would be iru if we were to handwrite that. And you can see that's a match. And that setting that I turned on called show kana stroke order, these hiragana characters, because the setting is turned on, you can press on each one and see the correct stroke order here. So that's basically how this quiz is set up. I'm gonna apply random ordering that scrambles the order in which the questions are asked. That kind of keeps you on your toes. And I'm gonna give this quiz a go. So to be able to is dekiru. And to write de is a little bit tricky because actually what you have to do is write te. And then you apply dakuten on top because t goes to d, right? When you apply dakuten. So that's de. And then ki is this one. And then ru is that. Let's try and write that a little larger. So you can see that's a match. Here, this is the typed version of ki. We can click here to see the handwritten version. You can see that gap that I was talking about. So that's fine. To want is hoshi. Hoshi. So this is ho. This is shi. And then we just need one more I. Hoshi. To put on is tsukeru. So this is tsu. This is ke. And this is ru. Right? To have is motsu. Motsu. So mo looks like this. Let's try and improve that last stroke a little bit. That's mo. And then we've seen tsu before. Looks like that. Ah, but I wrote ma here. So this is matsu, which is wrong. This is mo. Ah, that's silly. Okay, so that was just a failing with hiragana, so I'm not gonna really be worried too much about that when it comes to like the verbs part. But obviously, it's important to focus carefully, especially as a beginner. So this is gonna be iru, iru. To o is shi na kereba. It's quite a mouthful. This is she. This is na. This is ke. And then re looks like this. And then for ba, we first need to write ha, which looks like this. And then if we pan to the right slightly, so H goes to B when you apply dakuten on top. So let's write that. So this ha becomes a ba. And let's undo that H to B section at the bottom. So yeah, this is our final answer. This ha becomes a ba. And then we'll just pan back over here so we can see our answer in full. Submit that, and you can see that's a one-to-one match. Perfect. To be permanent is aru. Aru. And to do is suru. So this is su. And this is ru. And then to make is tsukuru. So this is tsu, ku, ru. Let's try and write that a little more neatly. Tsukuru. And then to find is mitsukeru. This U here is silent. So you don't pronounce it for some reason. This is mi. This is tsu. So mits. And then we need ke. And then ru. Mitsukeru. Great. The next one is to speak, talk, which is hanasu. Hanasu. So this is ha. This is na, and then this is su. Hanasu. Hanasu. Great. And to know is shiru. So this is shi. That's ru. To give is ageru. Ah. We can write that a little bit more neatly. Ah. And then here, we write ke. And then we put dakuten on top because K goes to G when you apply dakuten. So this becomes ge. And then we just end with ru. Well done. To see is miru. Mi. Ru. To eat is taberu. So this is ta. This is he, and when you apply dakuten on top, H goes to B, so this becomes be. Ru. To read is yomu. Yomu. To sleep is neru. So ne. Let's try and write that more neatly. So that's ne, and then ru. We're very familiar with at this point. To believe is shinjiru. So this is shi. And this is n. This is g. So shi, when you apply dakuten on top, becomes ji. And then uru. I'm not very happy with this n. So let's go back. Write this more neatly. There we go. No, still not quite right. Still not happy. Yeah, okay. It's looking pretty good. Cool. To arrive is kuru. Kuru. To place is oku. So this is o. Let's try and write that more neatly. Ku. To call is yobu. So what is yo? This is yo. And then here we're gonna need fu. When you apply dakuten on top, that becomes bu. So this is yobu. To understand is rikai suru. So this is ri. This is ri. This is ka. Here is the I. And then this is su. Ru. Rikai suru. Rikai suru. So this is ri in the typed form. Here is how it's written in its handwritten form. To say or tell is iu. Iu. And to come is, it's also kuru. Kuru. And then to go is iku. Iku. Great. So besides like a little issue here with getting ma and mo mixed up in hiragana, right? I wrote the correct romaji. Basically, that's all fine. So I'm very happy with that. I think what might be useful as well, since we're just on this section, I think what I'd like to do is swap the languages, and so that I now have to write the corresponding English. So for example, this is to speak. Neru is to sleep. Tsukeru is to put on. So I think that's like to put on clothes, for example. Miru is to see. Aru is to be. Okay, so that's a little bit annoying, but perhaps it's better to kind of insist on this permanent part. So for example, let's just quickly redo this. This is to speak, this is to sleep, this is to put on. This is to see, and then this is to be permanent. Just kind of test the user's understanding of, is it to be permanent or is it to be temporary? So this is to say. Yobu is to call. Iku is to go. Ageru is to give. Suru is to do. Iru is to be. Temporary. Mitsukeru is to find. Kuru is to arrive or to come. Oku is to to place. yomu is to read. Shinjiru is to believe. Kuru is to come. And taberu is to eat. Tsukuru is to make. Rikai suru is to understand. Dekiru is to be able to. Motsu is to have. Shinakereba is to owe. Hoshi is to know. No, is it? It's to want. To want. And then shiru is to know. There we go. Okay, so that went pretty well too. So this is clearly a sign to go back to verbs too. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to go back to doing the questions from English to Japanese. And just see how that goes. I think this is tatsu. Because I remember on this list there were two. There was like tatsu and there was hokobu, which I think was to open. Hakobu. So I'm gonna go with tatsu. I think that's the correct answer here. So let's write that. Ta-tsu. Tsu. Ain't that something? So it was the other one. Hakobu. Okay. To buy. Kau. Let's try and write that more neatly. To study. Nothing comes to mind. Benkyou suru. Okay. Okay. So in Romaji, that would be benkyou suru. Let's try and write that last part more neatly. Suru. So be, this is he. And then H goes to B when you apply dakuten on top. Then we just have the N here. This half-sized yo indicates that these two form a hiragana yun combination, ki and yu. Yo becomes a blended syllable, kyo. Then we just need another u. And then we need a su. Suru. Benkyou suru. And to look for, what is that? To look for is, so we had to find earlier. What's the difference to find and to look for? What, is the answer just mitsukeru again? Sagashi or sagasu. Let's see. Let's Google that. What is the difference between mitsukeru and sagasu? Ah, okay. Fine. That kind of makes sense, actually. So if I'm looking for something, I haven't found it yet. But when you find something, obviously you've found the location. So here to carry, as in to transport, I'm just gonna redo the quiz, was hokobu? Hokobu? But I think it was hakobu, actually. So ha is written like this, and then this is ko. And then for bu, all you have to do is write fu, and then when you apply dakuten on top, fu goes to bu. So this is hakobu. So let's submit our answer and take a look. Hakobu. That's a 1-to-1 match. Perfect. We'll move on to the next one. To buy is kau. So this is ka, and then this is u. Kau. Perfect. To study is, it's quite a long one, so it's ben kyo suru. So this is he. When you apply dakuten on top, that becomes be. Then this is en. Let's try and write that more neatly. This is ki. And this is a half-sized yo. When you see a half-sized yo, you know that plus the thing before it. If it's, well, these two are going to form something called a hiragana yun combination. So this ki and yo forms a blended syllable, kyo. Let's zoom out a little bit. Here's a u. And then we just need suru, right? So this is suru. Benkyou suru. Great. To look for was sagasu. And it's easy to get sagasu and mitsukeru mixed up, right? Because this is to find, and this is to look for. The way that they're distinguished in Japanese is that mitsukeru is when you've successfully found something, whilst this is when you're in the process for looking for something. So you haven't found it yet. You would say sagasu. So our answer is sagasu. This is sa. And then for ka, for ga, we start by writing ka. And then we know that when we apply dakuten, k becomes g, right? So this is sa, ga, and then we just need su. And it's a job done. To leave. Satatsu. So this is ta, tsu, right? To walk, aruku. Ruku. Great. And then to wear clothes is kiru. Because I think ikiru is to live, and kiru is to wear clothes. So this is ki. That is ru. Right? This is tricky because to answer, I remember that one. It was something like kotairu. But the question is, what is to question or to ask? It was something like, let's see. Tasuneru. Tazuneru. Okay. Tazeneru. So this is ta. That is set. When you apply dakuten on top, it becomes ze. Then we need a ne. And then we just need ru. And it's still wrong because this is a u here. Okay. Wow. So this is tazuneru. Ta. Su becomes zu when you apply dakuten on top. ねる tazuneru. To begin. What could that be? Let's take a look. Hajimeru. Pretty sure that's me. Hajimeru. Actually, that sounds right, you know? I think I've heard that word before. So this is ha, ji, me, ru. Hajimeru, Japanese. Let's take a look. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. To ask for. What's that? Tazuneru. Didn't we just have that before? You're joking. We're separating to ask and to ask for. Maybe it's like you say tazuneru when you want to ask a question, and you use tazuneru also when you were trying to ask for like a favor or an object. Fine. Tazuneru. So that's ta. And then this is zu. Ne. Ru. To lose. Makeru. I believe. So this is ma. This is ke. And then this is ru. Makeru. Yeah. To sing. That's tricky, you know? Utau. Utau. U. Ta. U. Fine. This is kaku. Let's try and write that more neatly. Ka. Ku. To close is what was that? Tojiru. Tojiru. So to close is tojiru. Tojiru. This is hashiru, to run. So this is ha. This is shi. And this is ru, hashiru. To dance is odoru, I think. To take is toru. And to open, what's that? Akeru. Okay. Akeru. Akeru. So as you probably noticed, you know, there's a lot of progress that I need to make when it comes to this list. But that's okay, you know, you just gotta keep sticking to it, and you'll keep improving. So to order, no idea what that is. Chu. mon suru. There's a lot going on there. So this is chu mon suru. This is chi. This is a half-sized u. So together they'd form a yun combination, chu. We need an extra u. Then we need mo. So it's mo. So mo is, this is the first stroke, that's the second, that's the third. Then we need an n. Let's zoom out to create a bit more space. And then we need su ru. Chumon suru. So to work, what was that again? Was it hakaru? Let's take a look. Hataraku. Okay. So to work is ha-ta-ra-ku. So ha is written like this. This is ta. 1, 2, 3, 4 in that stroke order. Ra kind of looks like a 5. And then that just leaves us with ku at the end. Hataraku. Hataraku. There we go. Now, to answer is a bit of a weird one because it's, at least in my opinion, it's like kotairu, but there's an e here. Well, it sounds like an I in my opinion, right? I would have thought if you listen, kotairu, it would be spelt like that, but there's an e here. So in any case, if we want to write that in hiragana, this would be ko, and this is ta. Try and write that more neatly. And then this is an e, and then we finish it off with ru, kotairu, kotairu. To bring, what was that again? Motte kuru. I see. Motte kuru. So here we use something called sukon. So this here is mo. And we have this half-sized tsu called tsukon. And that basically ensures that we have this te here after the sukon. And this basically, you don't pronounce this. This is silent. The point is that it acts as like a pause. And you place extra emphasis on the te that comes after it. So this is mo te. It's not mo te. It's mo te kuru. Like that. To live is ikiru. I. Ki-ru. To think is omou. O. Mo. U. But that mo is looking horrible. Actually, the whole thing is looking sloppy. So let's try and write that more neatly. That's o. That's mo. And this is you. This is omou. And then to need is iru. Iru. So this is I, that is ru. Okay, fine. So I think what I'll do now is I'll refresh the quiz and give this another go. So let's see how many I can get. So I'm going to apply random ordering. That kind of scrambles the order in which the questions are asked, kind of keep me on my toes. So to dance is odoru. So this is o. And then do is a little bit tricky, right? Because what you actually have to do is write to and then apply dakuten on top, because basically T goes to D when you apply these 2 marks. So if you want do, you need to have to write to first and then apply the 2 marks. So that's what's going on there. And then that's ru. Odoru, that's a match. Fantastic. To take is toru. So we just spoke about to before. Let's try and write it more neatly though. Right? To run is hashiru. So this is ha. This is shi. Let's try and write that more neatly. Shi. And then this is ru. To walk is aruku. Let's try and write that more neatly. Aruku. So this is a. That is ru. And this is ku. Right? Hataraku was to work. So this is ha. That's ta. That is ra. And then this is ku. Hataraku. Hajimeru is to begin. So this is ha. That is ji. So this is shi. When you apply dakuten on top, you get ji. And then me looks like that. And then this is ru. So this is hajimeru. Hajimeru. That's a match. Fantastic. To write is kaku. So I don't know what it is, but I always struggle to write ka in like a nice way. That's my best attempt. Ka, ku. Yeah, okay. And then to carry, as in to transport. I always get this mixed up because one of them, it's either tatsu or it is hakobu. And one of them I think is like, let's see. I think it's hakobu, you know? So this is hakobu. So this is ha. Cool. And then to write bu, you just apply, you write fu, and then you apply dakuten on top, right? So this is hakobu. Hakobu. Perfect. To buy is kau. This is ka. And this is u. Kau. To think is omou. Omou. So this is o. This is mo. And this is you. And to close, tojiru. Okay, so that one I got wrong. But to order, oh, this was very long. It was something like chumon suru. So let's zoom out a bit so we have enough space to write this. For some reason, despite being so long, it kind of makes it easier to remember. It's a bit strange. So this is chi. This is you. But notice how it's very small compared to the chi. So this is a half-sized yu. When you see that, that plus the hiragana before forms something called the yun combination. So this is not chi yu, it's chu. We just need one more u, so we're here now, chu. And then we need mo, so mo is written like this. And we need an n. And then let's pan a bit to the right. This is する. So, 注文する. 注文する. To need is いる. いる. To open very tricky, I forgot that one. 開ける. Okay, fine. This one is 負ける. So ま is written like this. That is け and this is る. 負ける. To live is 生きる. So this is い. And then for key, there are two ways you can write this. So this is either like a super old-fashioned way, or this is how you'll see it when it's typed. But when it's handwritten, pretty much everyone uses this. So this is 生きる, to live. So that's the typed version that I was talking about. But when we press here, you can see the stroke order. You can see this gap here for the commonly typed version. Now, to look for, I kind of want to point, because the answer is sagasu, right? So, sagasu. But from the previous list of verbs, you might remember like mitsukeru. And I was Googling this because I was like, this is to look, to find, and this is to look for. And I was like, what's the difference? So this, sagasu, is like you're searching for something, but you haven't found it yet. So you're in the process. But when you found something, when you find it, when you've completed that, that's when you find it. So that's mitsukeru. So that's kind of an important distinguishment I wanted to kind of point out, which is useful for me at least. So I thought I would share that. So this is sa. Then we need ka. And K goes to G, right? When you apply dakiten. So to get ga, we need ka first, and then we apply dakiten on top. Then it's a job done. And then we just need a su. Let's zoom out and write this a little bit more neatly. Sagasu. Perfect. To wear clothes. So this one is kiru. We spoke about how this is the handwritten form of ki. And then we have ru here. Great. And then to ask. Oh no. What was this again? Because kotairu is to answer. Kotairu. What was to ask? It was kind of long, you know? I think there was like, from what I remember, there was a zu in here. Zu. Presumably, most verbs end in ru. So I'm gonna say zuru. Sazuru. Kosuru. Yeah, I think there were like two hiragana here. So let's take a look. Tazuneru. Okay, so it's not even that. There was one here in between. Tazuneru. Fine. To study is, it's very weird. These long ones are somehow easier to remember. So this is benkyou suru. So this is he. When you apply dakuten on top, that becomes be. Then we have n here. This is ki. This is yo. So this is benkyou suru. Great. This we just spoke about earlier. Kotairu. Koteiru. So this is ko. This is ta. This is i. And then we've got ru here. 答える now what was sing? 歌う I think it was. Let's try and write this more neatly. 歌う So this is う This is た and this is う歌う Yeah, great. 勉強じゃなくて勉強じゃなくて勉強 Okay, so 勉強 probably 勉強する was to study. So this is something, that you wrote. I don't know what that middle word means, so let's Google that. じゃなくて meaning. Let's see. Jana kute. Actually, maybe I can use Google Translate. Let's see. Google Translate. Not study, but study. And then the last sentence is I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Sorry, I'm a little bit lost. But I suppose it's best if I just continue with the quiz. So I think this to leave is tatsu. Tatsu. Yeah. I think to ask for is the same as to ask, which was tazuneru. So this is, correct stroke order. Ta. And then here we just have su with dakuten on top. This is ne. Ru. Tazuneru. And then to bring, okay. Yeah, that's completely wrong. I think definitely not on purpose, but thank you so much for pointing it out. So I think what you're saying is like, to study was, it's benkyo, and there's a U here, suru. So I should have written this, right? So I need this half-sized yol, and then I need this U here. So you're saying I forgot that part. Thank you for pointing that out. To bring, I have no idea. I don't remember that. Let's see. So this is motte kuru. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and like lock in the ones that I got wrong. So let's, because I think it loses track. So we had, the ones that I got wrong were, I'm just writing this on my second monitor. To close, to open, to ask, and to bring. So now if I press select words, the ones that I got wrong were to bring, to ask, to open, and to close. So if we now press hide unselected words, we're getting a subset of the quiz just on the ones that I got wrong. By the way, janakute is the te form of janai, which means it is not. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you so much. This is great because I'm also now like learning from you, so that's really useful. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a quick moment to just study this table. By the way, I hope it's okay if I respond verbally. I think it might be easier. Tojiru, akeru, and to ask is tazuneru, and this is motte kuru. Okay, so I'm just doing a subset of the quiz for the stuff that I was struggling with. So this one was motte kuru. So mo is written like this. And then we've got this half-size tsu, which is called tsukuon, which basically you don't pronounce, but it's like a pause so that there's more emphasis on the te here. So this is motte kuru. Let's take a look. Motte kuru. Great. And then to ask was something tazuneru. So a ja nakute. Wait, ja nakute b des. Ah, that makes sense. Thank you, sensei. I appreciate the help. So this is ta. This is zu. Ne. Ru. Tazuneru. To close was tojiru, I believe. So this is to. This is ji. And then that's ru. Tojiru. And this one was akeru. Akeru. Hi. Hello. I might need to continue using Google Translate to read your messages. Oh, I see. Yeah, you might not be a teacher, but you've been helping me a lot, so thank you. So this is just a subset of the words that I was struggling with. I'm gonna give this like one more round just to kind of consolidate the learning. So this one is akeru. Akeru. Of course, I remember you were the one that mentioned that there was no need to type and that speaking would be faster. So thank you for joining again. Yeah, I noticed because like you have the Zoro profile picture. So to close is tojiru. I think you mentioned you were doing like N3 over the summer. Is that right? Tojiru. To ask is tazuneru. kanji is definitely something I'm gonna need to like start tackling at some point. But I thought, you know, I know so little Japanese. At least this way, when people talk, I can understand a couple of words. But I'm definitely intending to go back through this vocab list and then like learn the kanji as well. So to ask is ta. Oh, this almost went wrong. We need dakiten on top of the su to get zu. So this is ta zu neru. Cool. And then to bring was motte kuru. So mo is. Wait, what am I doing? This is mo. Then we have the sukon. Then we have te. Let's zoom out. Kuru. Motte kuru. All right, great. So with those four kind of, you know, I've consolidated that a little bit. I'm now going to uncheck those four and go back to the whole quiz. So these are all 25. I'm going to lock in and try and get as good of a grade as possible. So to begin is haji meru. Yes, I'm currently on, what's it called? Egghead Island. What's your favorite arc of One Piece? Haji Meru. Hajimeru. Oh, and when I say that, oh, I'm on Egghead Island, I think the actual anime that's like as it's airing is also there, but I'm like on episode 1130. I'm like 20 episodes behind or something like that. Hajimeru. Hajimeru. Okay, great. To buy is kau. So this is ka. And this is u. I really want to do well with this quiz, so I gotta like lock in. Kau. Yeah, that looks okay. To answer is kotairu. Do you have any like favorite anime? Like what would you, for me it's got to be Attack on Titan for sure. But there are loads of good ones. Kotairu. And then to dance is odoru. Oh. So this is to, so I gotta apply dakuten on top. And then ru. And then to work. Hataraku, I believe. So this is ha. Ta. Raku. Hataraku. Cool. And then this one's kind of long, so it's like chu. Wait, let's try and write this. Chu mon suru. So I think what we need here is like this yun combination. Let's write this a bit smaller so it can hopefully fit. So here I'm gonna write a half-sized u. So this is a yun combination. Chi and u becomes chu. Then I can't forget about this extra u. Then I need to write mo. So this is the first stroke, 2, 3. Then we need an n. And then we need su. Ru. So this is 注文する。注文する。I switched to the manga after Egghead because I couldn't wait. Still watching the anime though. What about your favorite arc? Weirdly enough, like I liked Marineford, but I never really got like it doesn't stick with me in the same way that for example, the character development that Sanji got during Whole Cake Island, or like Luffy and Sanji when they were like fighting and having that like argument between them. I thought that was such good character writing, and also the whole fight with the first what's the guy that loves donuts? But yeah, anyways, that guy. I would say probably Whole Cake Island. So, anyways, to look for, I'm just gonna skip one. I'll come back to the other one. Is sagasu, and from what I know, you say sagasu when you are in the process for looking something, but you haven't found it yet. Whilst if you find it, you've kind of achieved your goal. You would say mitsukeru. So that's because I thought these two kind of meant the same thing, but it's not quite the same. So yeah, this should be sagasu. So what is sa? This is sa. And then now I need ka. Apply Dakuten on top to get ga. Su. Sagasu. Great. What is to need? I think it's iru, you know? Iru. Ah, cool. I love Hunter x Hunter. It's a great show, yeah. Wait, is Haikyuu the volleyball one? Ah, I see. Nice. Sorry, I saw your message. Let me just see what it means. We're both otaku. Oh, otaku means like someone that like loves anime, I guess, right? Or like that kind of stuff. So to take, what is to take? Is that toru? I think it is, you know? This should be correct, please. Come on, come on, come on. Yes, fantastic. Okay, to lose is makeru. So this is ma. This is ke, and then that's ru. Katakuri. Thank you. Yes. Ku. Actually, you know, it might also be. I know it was super slow, but oh, who's my favorite Straw Hat? Wait. Give me 1 second, cause like, I'm so bad with like the names, but Doflamingo's like arc. What's it called again? Basically the whole backstory with Law and Doflamingo was so sick. That's probably like my favorite part of One Piece. Cause the guy that like Doflamingo's like brother, that's some of the best writing One Piece has ever had in my opinion. In my opinion, that was like flawless. Who's my favorite Straw Hat? Maybe Luffy, you know. Aruku. Yeah, Dressrosa arc. I think my only problem with One Piece is like, it really could have been like 300-400 episodes. I don't know why they like drag it out so much. I wish they'd Like if they did it like as arcs, or like it would come out like once a year for like a season or something, I think it might have been better that way. But obviously, it's a great show. Aruku. But that's just my opinion, of course. Like, who am I to tell them what to do? So, anyways, to walk is aruku. Is that right? Aruku. Yeah. Corazon. How did you feel about that arc? Did you enjoy it? To close is is it akeru? I don't think it is, you know. I think it might be tojiru. Tojiru. So this is to. This is shi. So when you apply dakuten on top, it becomes ji. And then it's ru. Please let this be right. Yes. Okay. Now it switched to seasonal though. Oh, did it? Yeah, I remember like One Piece goes on breaks now. You're right. So this one, I think that might be for the best. Benkyou suru, right? So this is gonna be he with dakuten on top. Then we need this n. Then we have ki and yo. But this yo, God, I gotta like try and like write this action properly. That's the n. This is ki. And then this is the half-sized yo. So this is a yun combination that's gonna be pronounced as kyo. Then I need the additional u. Su. Ru. Benkyou suru. Have you seen the Hyakuman movie, by the way? Or Hyakuem, sorry. It's like 100 meters, a sprinting movie by the same people, or like the same author that wrote Vinland Saga. Was it Vinland Saga? No, that wrote like Orb. Sorry, it was Orb. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was phenomenal. Oh, use One Piece smart. This is probably like sacrilege, but I would quite often watch One Piece at like ×2 speed and then slow down it when it got to like parts that weren't repeated over and over. So this is mo. Then we have here sukuon. So this is a half-sized tsu, which you don't pronounce. And the point of it is that this te, it's gonna have extra emphasis placed on it, and there's gonna be a break before it. So this is not mo te, it's mo te. And then we just need ku ru, mo te, wait, mo te kuru. Ah! So that was correct. I just double clicked. That's such. We're gonna consider this a pass. To run is hashiru. Because yeah, I'm using a Wacom tablet, and so I just double clicked and it immediately went to incorrect. That's so unfortunate. So this is ha, shi, ru. Oh, I can highly recommend that movie. I thought it was. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It was like a masterpiece. To leave, as in to depart. Is that tatsu? I think it is, you know. Ta. Tsu. Right? And then to sing is utau. So this is u. This is ta. Wait, let's try and get that shape better. And then this is another u, so it's utau. Great. To carry, as in to transport. So I think this one is hakobu, right? Hakobu. Ha. Ko. And then here we're gonna write fu with dakuten on top, becomes bu. And then to open is akeru, I think. Great. To think is omou. Omou. In which country do I live? I live in England, which is a country in another England called the United Kingdom, I guess. I'll go with England for my answer. Omou. How about yourself? Where do you live? Like what country? Omou. And then to ask for was tazu neru. Actually, also, besides where you live, I'm also curious, but what made you like learn Japanese? Because obviously it's quite a big endeavor. Is it like because you want to travel there or like work there or just understand anime without subtitles? Tazu neru. Is that right? Let's go with that. Tazuneru. Yeah. To live is ikiru. Ah, you're from Pakistan. That's cool. I've never been, but definitely know some people from there. They're all very nice. Ikiru, I would say. And then to write is that kaku? I think it is. So you want to move to Japan. That's awesome. Like for study or for work? Yes. Okay. I gotta lock in. If I can get these last two right, then I got the whole quiz right, which would be awesome. So to ask is, that's the same thing as before, right? It's like tazu neru. So this is ta. This is zu. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is ne. That's ru. Tazuneru. And then to wear is kiru. So this is ki. And this is ru. Yes. Okay, so I know it said 96, but this was just me double clicking by accident using my tablet. So we got them all. Now, I could go on to verbs 3. But I think actually what I'd like to do now is maybe do a quick round of numbers, see how many I remember of those. And for that one, I'm going to do kanji because I already know like the words. I just need the kanji as well. So my reason to learn Japanese. Yeah, so I've always kind of been interested in like Japanese culture, but also this website that we're using, lingocommand.com, it's always like kind of been like a project of mine to build like a language app. And initially on here, I had like French, German, like Spanish, a bunch of languages. But I was like, it's already hard enough to do one. So I was like, why don't I try Japanese? Because it's one of the hardest ones. So, and then I was like, well, I need to test if the product works. And so, because I'm interested in the culture and I want to test like my app, I was like, why not just use my own app to learn Japanese and keep improving it and see where I get? So yeah, 3 is sun. And in kanji, that's written like this. It's like 3 dashes with the middle one being kind of short, I would say. Let's take a look at the stroke order. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Great. And you want to do it for work. That's awesome. yeah, you definitely need to be able to speak like pretty good Japanese for that. So 5 is go, and I think it's something like this, you know? Like the kanji. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that was correct stroke order, so I'm gonna give that a pass. And then 9. 9 is Q. How do you write it? So this is, wait, this is 10. This is 8. Oh, I remember. So maru, which is 0, is something like this. And when you don't add this little dash, then you get 9. Would you look at that? So you start here at the top right, you go down, and then you have this swish here. So that was good. I'll take that. 6. What is 6? I think it was something like this. So 6, it's pronounced roku. And this is the kanji. Maybe they need to be a bit curved. I feel like just reading and understanding Japanese characters is enough to thrive in Japan, Nihon. Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with that. Like, I think from reading you can pick up so much, like, it's like called immersion, right? When you just immerse yourself in the language. Okay, bye. See you soon, hopefully. But yeah, I think like for me, at least at my level, kind of like reading Japanese is out of the question because I've got no vocabulary, no kanji knowledge. Well, I can read hiragana and katakana now, and I know some words, but ichi ni, so this is pronounced ni, and this is the so kind of what my plan at least is to kind of build like a basic foundation of Japanese vocabulary and kanji knowledge, and then from there immerse myself. But I think, and we'll see if this is correct, but my reasoning is that if you try to immerse yourself, but it's something way beyond your level, it just becomes like incomprehensible. Whilst if you have, if either the content is very easy and it's at your level, or if your level increases, but it needs to be not too easy, not too difficult. And for me now, if I listen to Japanese, everything's too difficult. And so that's why I'm kind of like doing this to try and like up my knowledge. So for example, 1 million. So in Japanese, you've got like, there's this thing going on. So let's say we've got English here and then Japanese here. In English, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That 3 is something we've already encountered in lower numbers. Same with 4, 14, 15, etc. 20 is that first part comes from 2. 30, the first part comes from 3, and so forth, up to 99. But then you've got like a new word, which is like 100 in English. And it's just like completely new. It's got nothing to do with anything that came before it. And then up to 999, you're fine again, but then you get to 1,000, right? That's just a new word that you need to know if you speak English. And then you're fine up to 999,999. When you get to million, you know, that's another new word, and then another new word is a billion. Let's stop there. And Japanese is kind of the same, but you've got hyaku, which is 100. Then you've got sen, which is 1,000. And then you've got, well, depending on the context, you say ichiman or just man, if there's something else in front of it. But that's 10K. And then oku, which is 100 million. So the increments are different. But then to make this 1 million, let's zoom out. I think basically you don't do sen, which is 1,000 times 1,000. What you do instead is 10K is the largest thing that fits into a million. So you put man here, which is 10K. And then you need to ask yourself, what do you multiply 10k by to get a million? Which is hyaku. So hyakuman, let's clear all of this and just write it, should be the answer. Now the question is, how do I write that in kanji? So this is, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is hyakuman. The question is, what is man? I think it was this one. Oh yeah, so when I said sen, or are you saying hyakuman is wrong? I think that's right, you know? That should be a million. Hyakuman. Yeah. Have I tried Anki? I've tried it like very slightly, but not much personally. Have you enjoyed using it? So 10 is ju. Ah, okay. Sorry if I confused you. I was kind of, you know, for example, like, I forgot which one it is. I think it might be 100,000. And that one is like ju. You saying this right? Is it juman? And it's not hyaku sen. So this is wrong, and this is correct. Even though 100 times 1k is 100,000. But yeah, in Japanese, you kind of want the largest unit possible in front here. So that's kind of, yeah, sorry if that was confusing. I was just trying to explain why, you know, how that kind of works. So ju, wait, is that correct? Q, ju, yeah, okay. So 10 is kind of simple, it's just a cross. But yeah, I haven't used much Anki. Have you? Like, did you find it useful? Oh, and we spoke about this, right? So 100 million is just oku. The question is, how on earth do you write oku? Was it this one? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think it was this thing, you know? But there's too much space here. I don't like that. So I'm gonna try again. So it's oku. Or am I writing rei? Ah, this is scary. I might be writing rei, you know? I think the problem is I forgot which one is rei and which one's oku, but I'm gonna go with this. I got lucky there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You might be wondering like what's going on with this like diagram. There's so many colors all over the place. So if we click here, it basically shows that the strokes are color coded, where the first one's red, then the next one's orange, and it kind of goes down this rainbow ordering. And obviously there's 7 colors in the rainbow, like to violet. But then when you get to the 8th stroke, you just loop back to the front. So you go to red, and then you go orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet again. And that's really useful because sometimes these strokes overlap. And so I can see that this is red. So I know this is the 8th stroke, even though I can't see the number 8 because 9 is overlapping it. So yeah, just wanted to kind of explain what's going on with this rainbow stroke order diagram thing. Hyaku sen as a word sound is used in another word. It is not used to show 10,000, as you know. Yeah. Oh, okay. Um, I'm being consistent with Anki, but it's hard to recall a word or translate a word all of a sudden. But when someone says it, it helps me recall that word. I should spend more time speaking it. Oh, I see. I think like I have this with English, right? So, you know, when you read a bunch of books, there's certain words you never really use in everyday language. And so it's part of like your passive vocabulary. Like when you hear it, you're like, oh, I know that word. But if you try to use it yourself, it's kind of a bit intangible. I can't really come up with an English word where I have this myself, but I've experienced it with English. So is that kind of what you're talking about? Passive versus like active knowledge? So 1,000 is sen. The question is, what's the kanji for sen? So this was 100. This was a 10K. I know. I think it's this one. It looks just like chi from katakana, because chi in katakana, I think it's something like this, right? So if this is just straight, then you get the kanji for 1,000. Yeah, okay, maybe that's a little bit too steep. But it's even got like a similar stroke order, right? 1, 2, 3. So give that a pass. That's great. So a billion is gonna be 10 times 100 million. Wait. So we need 100 million, and then we times by 10. Maybe, yeah. So this is gonna be ju oku, and ju is just this cross, and then we had this whole thing with oku. It's like 15 strokes or something. So yeah, that's a match. Fantastic. Now 100,000. Yeah, so this one is 10 times 10K. And it's not 100 times 1K, because in Japanese you try and fit the largest thing possible here. Right? And so man does actually fit, or ichiman does actually fit into 100,000. So you're going to put the 10K here, and not just 1K. So our answer is going to be juman. 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 So this is shi. Oh, wait, why am I writing hiragana? This is 10. And then man is this one, right? What's my desired timeline for learning Japanese with my project? I'm not really sure. I'm just hoping to kind of progress day by day. And then obviously as well, like my goal is to keep improving the app. So I won't just be like learning Japanese, like I need to make code changes, improve the app and all of that. But I'd like to just kind of feel like I'm making steady progress, which so far, I think it's fair to say that I'm making some progress. So it's a little bit hard to say at this point. I think as long as I'm not stalling and making no progress, I'll be happy. But desired timeline, I just don't have enough knowledge for like what's like a realistic target. Sorry, I was talking so much I wasn't even focused. Sure, this is wrong, but I do know this. We kind of covered it in the earlier one. Yeah, because this is just hyaku, so I just wrote this ku for no reason. Fine, we'll call it incorrect, but I'm not worried about that. This is yon, 4. And then 8 is hachi. I hope that answered your question. A little bit vague. I don't really have like a desired timeline. My main goal is to kind of learn Japanese just as it goes, and improve the app. That's the main two goals. So hachi I think it's this, 10 million is 1K times 10K. So we're going to use sen man. Let's try and write that neatly. The question is, what is sen? So sen was this thing. And then man was this one. One is very simple, ichi. Am I worried about hitting a wall eventually? I think it's a very valid point, but for example, like I have a bunch of ideas on how to like kind of improve, like get past walls. So for example, I remember you spoke about like pitch intonation, which is like something that I would need to acquire eventually if I want to learn Japanese like properly. And so what I really want to do is like imagine that there's like check pronunciation. That's like an option here. You click there, and then you speak the word, and it checks your pitch pronunciation. That would be great. It would be a feature that would take a long time to build for me, so that's why I'm currently not doing it. But that's one. And then also I've got like this reading and listening section here. My Japanese is not yet at the level where this is useful for me, but
愛子さんは本を読むことが大好きで、
so I can listen to this, for example, and say like, let's look at this at a sentence level, and I'm gonna hide the right column.
愛子さんは本を読むことが大好きで、地元の図書館で心
So I know Toshokan is library. Aiko-san is presumably the name of this girl. So once my Japanese like gets good enough, hopefully I can listen to a sentence like this. And I want English text here. And then I can just kind of like listen and be like, oh, I think this is, Aiko-san maybe like likes going to the library. Let's see. So it's Aiko-san loves reading books and finds comfort and excitement at her local library. So I was completely off. But hopefully as my Japanese improves, my accuracy is going to be pretty good with this type of stuff. And then imagine, so I've only got 2 dialogues here. Imagine that I've got dozens. Then I can improve my like listening comprehension through that. So yeah, I might hit a wall, but I hope with some perseverance and creativity, I can push past that. But we'll see. I think Japanese will be quite a difficult language for me to learn. Where are the example reading passages from? So what I did was, I tested this with Dutch because it's like my native language. So I just made up this English text and then kind of passed it through 2 or 3 AIs to get like the Japanese text. And I was like, my Japanese is not great, so I don't know if the output is correct, but I tested it in Dutch and there it was like spot on. And so I think this is maybe like this translation. If we say like, look here, let's put Romaji. I think it should be fairly accurate. And obviously, if I see any mistakes, I'll keep making updates. So that's kind of my process here. But especially for this, my Japanese knowledge needs to be pretty good in order to see any mistakes here. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process there. Does it get the kanji correct though? Hopefully, like, so I triple check this like quite a lot of times. What's going on there? How strange. So you asked about kanji. I can show you that. I think I spent like hours trying to like double check if this made sense, which is silly, because I don't know any Japanese, but I checked with like multiple sources, tried to see if it's accurate. So perhaps you could tell me if this first sentence like looks all right. Yeah, basically what I did was I just checked like with multiple AIs, see like if it matches, checked with like dictionaries. Hopefully this is like 95% accurate, and then as I keep using it, accuracy will go up. I made a bit of a mistake here because I lost track of where I was in the quiz. But I remember I was doing 0. That was it. So there are 3 ways to say 0, which is rei, 0, and maru. So let's go with the easy one. This is maru. 0 is katakana because, you know, presumably this comes from like some Romance language. So but yeah, thank you by the way for saying that it looks fine. Like that's good to hear. So that's 0, but the question is, what is rei? And I remember, oh my god, this is exciting. So lock in. I think it was something like 1. There was something like this. There was a line. Yeah. Okay. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's rei. So let's submit that and take a look. I might have to end the stream in a bit, by the way. Going to go see some family. But yeah, so this is maru. That's 0. And then let's look at the stroke order for rei. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That looks okay to me. So yeah, we'll give that a pass. Zero actually has a kanji, however, it's rarely used. Yeah, I think what you wrote there, that kanji, is the one that I just hand wrote. Is that right? But yeah, I think looking at the time, I might need to leave soon. So thank you so much for joining the live stream. And I will probably have to go now. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you enjoyed the live stream or the video when it airs on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. That would really support me in continuing to make videos like this and also to continue working on lingocommand.com. Thank you for the support. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time, and take care. Thank you.